always say, don't they, that if voting really changed anything, they wouldn't allow us to do it.
Well, first of all, voting is not a bother. It's a privilege.
It's like saying, well, why bother to pray?
It's like giving food to your kids.
It's like the brain, use it or lose it.
A lot of it is for yourself, and it's
one of the few occasions where you have this feeling that you only make sense as part of a larger entity.
even if it is as depressing as the lesser of the evil.
And even if you wanted to spoil your ballot sheet, you should go and do that.
Because we can.
And I think that's a wonderful experience.
In particular, poor people should vote.
Well, of course, if they don't vote, then we'll get smiley-faced politicians promising the world, invading countries based on lies and dodgy dossiers.
When I got elected the first time, there was a difference between me and the other candidate of 38 people.
Of course, we've got to vote, haven't we?
We have to vote.
It is crucial to vote.
You should be punished if you're not, because
people have given their lives for the rights of democracy in the past.
We're voting for that freedom, and that's why we should vote.
Even if you think your vote doesn't have much effect, it's the way you say to yourself, I believe in democracy.
Good question. My answer is, so don't bother to vote. I don't vote.
I don't vote.
Eu não acredito mais no voto.
Nowadays, I don't have the feeling I can trust somebody.
I've never voted in my life.
Because I don't believe in democracy anymore.
I think it's worth voting, but I can understand why a lot of people don't.
You know, for instance, in America, there are a lot of people that feel that the system's simply too complicated. I don't understand, it's this, I don't know, what do I push, and maybe if this happens or that happens, the right guy doesn't get elected president anyway.
Well, yeah, in Japan too, yeah, the voting rate is going down the hill.
A lot of young people are engaged, they just don't feel that there's much choice for who they want.
All the parties seem to merge into one, so...
The things people want to vote for are often not available.
This is, in my view, the Wikipedia generation, when people have the tools they need to shape their own lives, and they're fed up with being told by politicians a long way away who don't listen what they should do.
It really hit me when I was watching An Inconvenient Truth, and it had that sentence of going from denial to despair. And I realized that I've done that with voting, and I think a lot of people do that with voting because...
The typical elections, it's a spectacle. By participating, you do something which is a pseudo-activity. It's a kind of a ridiculous imitation of an activity.
What I'm really worried about is people who aren't informed but still go vote.
They did an IQ test to the American Army, and the mental age was 11.
Then they probably shouldn't be voting.
And I just think that perhaps people should have a certain mental age before they're allowed to vote as well.
The larger the democratic process participation is, the less likely that the results will be good and wise.
If the majority of voters would not vote, I think that paradoxically this would put those in power under much greater pressure. They would no longer be covered by democracy, like don't criticize us, we are democratically elected, and they would be under much greater pressure to do something. So my idea is, my proposal is, don't vote.
I think eventually most democracies end up in a sort of state which might resemble apathy.
I don't particularly think that people who don't vote are apathetic. I think a lot of voters are apathetic.
To be happy, it's good to have somebody in power on whom you can put all the blame so that then you don't feel responsible.
They feel that they're playing their part in democracy because they vote. So they do nothing for 4 or 5 years.
Elections are just the start of a democratic process. You need independent judges, you need a free press, you need a good education system, you need
people who dare to walk in front and have an opinion.
They try to convince people that individuals don't have power.
As an individual, I know how little one person can do.
It's the opposite. We have incredible power.
And then when I stand up and go on demonstrations and march, they call me a militant, and they call me undemocratic.
So voting is important, but it is not enough.